Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. We begin in the name of Allah. We send peace and blessings upon the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, upon his family and companions, and those who follow them in righteousness until the last day. This is a recording of Jami Tirmithi by Imam al-Hafiz Abu Isa Muhammad ibn Isa Tirmithi. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Merciful, the Beneficent. Publishers Foreward. All praise is due to Allah, who has facilitated the Dar es-Salam in its efforts of service in the translation and publication of important Islamic works in various languages. Be granted the task of publishing the entire collection of the famous 6 books of Hadith. These are Sahih al-Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, Sunan Abi Dawud, Sunan al-Tirmithi, Sunan al-Nasa'i, and Sunan Ibn Majah. Rahimahumullahu jami'an. These last 4, known as the 4 Sunan, contain mostly ahadith related to and arranged according to the religious regulations, have mostly been out of reach of the English reader until now. After Sunan Abu Dawud, Imam Abu Isa Tirmithi in his collection, better known as Sunan Tirmithi, is considered the most authentic among the 4 Sunan. In fact, some scholars even consider Sunan Tirmithi to be the best out of all of the 6 books, not based upon a criteria of authenticity, but rather because of how well organized it is, making it easy for the average person to find what he's looking for. All of the additional areas of knowledge that the author has included, which are not found in other titles among the 6 books, are some of the reasons why Imam Tirmidhi's book is considered by many as being one of the best. For example, after citing the narrations of a chapter, he often explains the views of famous A'imma of fiqh like Ahmad, Shafi'i, and Malik, and others. In this manner, he makes clear the interpretations of these great scholars and why they did or did not act upon this hadith, making this collection an important fiqh reference as well. Similarly, if he mentioned a chapter about the prohibition or the command for something, he would include, if applicable, a chapter after that related to the exception or permission regarding those matters. His collection has the added distinguishing mark of containing many statements regarding narrators from the great scholars of ahadith that he learned from the likings of Imam ad-Darimi, whom he often cites from by saying, "I asked Abdullah ibn Abdur-Rahman about this." Of course, the most famous of these is his teacher Imam al-Bukhari, whom he often refers to as "I asked Muhammad," or "I heard from Muhammad ibn Ismail saying such and such." Oftentimes, Imam at-Tirmidhi explains details about the name of a narrator that may be obscure in chains of narration he cited, as well as clarifying the names of Sahaba who are mentioned. Imam at-Tirmidhi also explains any defects in the chains of narration he cited for the hadith, and what his preference is in regards to the most correct versions. In other words, is the real chain a connected chain, or is the genuine version that which does not have a connected chain? Imam at-Tirmidhi's collection also has another distinguishing characteristic among the remainder of the 4 Sunan collections. That is, his effort to explain the overall correctness and usefulness of a particular hadith. In other words, he grades each hadith. This is something that occurs with less frequency in the other 3 of the 4 Sunan. In most chapters, Imam at-Tirmidhi also explains if there are other narrations related to the topic, and from which of the Sahaba they were reported. Such topics, along with his book Al-Ilal al-Kabir and his book Al-Ilal As-Saghir make his collection one of the most important references for the science of Ilm Al-Rijal, the science of men and narrators, Ilm Al-Riwaya, the science of narration, Ilm Al-Jarh wa Ta'dil, the science of disparaging remarks regarding narrators, are also the science of endorsing remarks regarding narrators. In summary of the benefit of Sunan Tirmithi, Al-Qadi Ibn al-Arabi rahimahullah mentioned the famous collection of hadith, and he said, and there is none among them like the book of Abu Isa. And he said, quote, in it are 14 categories of knowledge, and that makes it easier and safer to act upon. Imam Al-Qadi Al-Arabi, he listed 14 of such categories of knowledge. 1. Chains of narration, the science of chains of narration, or ilm asanid. 2. Authenticity, or sihha. 3. Weakness, or da'af. 4. Multiple routes of transmission, turuq. 5. Disparaging remarks regarding narrators, jarh. 6. Endorsing remarks regarding narrators, al-adl or ta'dil. 7. Names of narrators, asma' al-ruwah. 8. Al-kuna, surnames of narrators. 9. Connected narrations, al-wasl. 10. Disconnected narrations, al-qata'. 11. The clearest of what is to be acted upon, ma alayhi al-amal. And 12. What is abandoned of narrations, ma lam yu'mal bihi. 13. Clarification of the differences of the scholars in rejecting and accepting narrations. 14. Mention of their differences in interpretation of the narrations. By these, he indicated that this collection of Imam At-Tirmidhi includes each of these types of knowledge in it. The original text of Sunan Tirmidhi has been widely published in the Islamic world, and a team of scholars have reviewed the famous publications and manuscripts and verification of the text for our publication. Finally, there were 3 main texts relied upon for verification, and these are the texts published in India, with a commentary Tuhfat al-Ahwadi by Sheikh Abdur-Rahman al-Mubarakfuri, the text published in Beirut, with a commentary Aridat al-Ahwadi by Al-Qadi Ibn Arabi, and the text published in Tunisia, which is based upon the text verified by Sheikh Ahmed Shakir and Muhammad Fawad Abdul-Baqi. Muhammad Fuad Abdul-Baqi. There are slight discrepancies of variation in some of the manuscripts and published editions. Sometimes there is an additional word here or there, or one hadith or chapter is cited earlier or later in sequence in one manuscript. In cases of additional words or phrases found in one or few of the manuscripts and editions, the addition has been marked by square brackets. This method is visible in the English translation as well, and whenever it was deemed necessary to insert an explanatory term, then parentheses were used for that term or that purpose. Lastly, all of the hadith in the text have been graded by the great scholars, by the great research scholar Hafid Zubair Ali Zaid. We ask Allah to accept our good works in this endeavor and to cause all of the readers to attain the best benefit from it. Abdul Malik Mujahid, servant of the Quran and Sunnah, director, Dar es Salaam, Riyadh, and Lahore.